A surprising trend is reshaping the American housing market. More buyers are paying with all cash. This is not just a small shift, it is a significant change in how homes are bought and sold. The traditional path of getting a mortgage is becoming less common in certain segments. This trend signals a deeper change in the economy. It also reflects a new kind of buyer with different motivations and resources. Understanding this shift requires looking at it from different angles. We need to see the big picture and the small details. The story of cash buying is a story of scale. The phenomenon looks different depending on where you stand. At a national level, the numbers show a broad, steady increase. But the reasons behind it are complex. They involve interest rates, a shortage of homes, and the simple desire for a sure deal. When we zoom into a high-cost state like California, the story changes slightly. The trend becomes even more concentrated as we move to a specific city like Los Angeles. Finally, in an ultra-luxury enclave like Malibu, cash is not just an option. It is often the standard. Across the United States, cash has become a formidable force in real estate. Recent data paints a clear picture of this nationwide trend. According to reports, all cash purchases accounted for 32.6% of home sales in early 2025. Nearly 1 out of every 3 homes sold in America was bought without a mortgage. This is not an anomaly. It's a sustained high point. The rise of cash transactions responds to a changing economic landscape. It reflects new calculations buyers and sellers make in a volatile market. The traditional 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is no longer the only game. Several key factors drive this national surge. First, a high-interest rate environment. Borrowing money is expensive, so those who don't need to borrow gain an advantage. Cash buyers can bypass loans, saving tens or even hundreds of thousands over time. Second, persistent housing inventory shortages. With few homes for sale, sellers hold the cards. Multiple offers are common, and cash offers often stand out as the safest, fastest bet. Cash removes the risk of financing falling through at the last minute. Types of cash buyers are evolving. Many are recent sellers rolling equity into a new purchase. They've benefited from years of rising home values. Investors are another big segment. Large institutional firms, small-scale landlords. For them, cash streamlines acquisitions and boosts returns. As we transition from the national view to California, the story becomes more nuanced. The Golden State presents a paradox. On one hand, its sky-high property values make mortgages a necessity for the vast majority of homebuyers. It is difficult for a typical family to save up the millions needed to buy a home outright. On the other hand, California is home to immense wealth, and its luxury markets operate on a different plane. The statewide cash purchase share often hovers between 22% and 27%. This is lower than the national average. This difference highlights how California's expensive market forces more people to rely on financing for primary residences. The lower overall cash share in California is a direct result of affordability challenges. The median home price in many parts of the state is well over $1 million. This simple fact means that even very affluent households often need to secure a loan to make a purchase. High property taxes and other costs of living further strain household budgets, making an all-cash purchase an unattainable goal for most. Therefore, the everyday real estate market in places like Sacramento, the Inland Empire, the Bay Area, Los Angeles, is dominated by finance transactions. The dream of homeownership in California is, for most, inextricably linked to a mortgage. However, the statewide average masks the reality of the ultra-luxury sector. While the overall percentage of cash buyers is lower than the national figure, the absolute number of high-value cash transactions is substantial. California is a global hub for technology, entertainment, finance, which generates a class of buyers for whom a multi-million-dollar cash purchase is entirely feasible. These buyers are not participating in the same market as everyone else. They are competing for a limited supply of trophy properties in the most desirable locations. Zooming in further, the Los Angeles County market provides an even clearer illustration of this bifurcation. The overall share of all cash sales in LA is similar to the California state average, typically around 22.2%. This figure confirms that most Angelenos, like most Californians, rely on mortgages to buy their homes. The sprawling county encompasses a vast range of neighborhoods and price points, relatively affordable condos in the San Fernando Valley, modest single-family homes in East LA. In these areas, financed offers are the norm. Buyers are focused on qualifying for loans, securing favorable interest rates, and navigating the complex paperwork that comes with a traditional purchase. For the average buyer in Los Angeles, the idea of an all-cash offer can seem like a distant fantasy. They are competing against other buyers who are also contingent on financing. Their success depends on their credit score, their down payment, and the bank's appraisal of the property. The market for homes under $1.5 million is largely driven by these traditional mechanics. A cash offer in this price range is certainly powerful, but it is not the standard. The 22.2% statistic reflects this reality. The LA market at a macro level is still fundamentally a financed market. However, this overall percentage obscures a dramatic split. The cash is not evenly distributed across the county. Instead, it is highly concentrated in specific high-value neighborhoods and luxury properties. Beverly Hills, Bel Air, the Hollywood Hills tell a completely different story. In these enclaves, cash is not just an advantage. It is often a prerequisite. When a property is listed for $10 million, $20 million or more, sellers and their agents expect to see offers that are clean, fast, and free of financing contingencies. The pool of potential buyers is smaller, but their financial capacity is immense. Here, the competition is less about qualifying for a loan and more about demonstrating overwhelming financial strength. Our final stop is Malibu, a 21-mile strip of coastline that represents the apex of luxury real estate. Here, the dynamics observed in Los Angeles are amplified to their most extreme. Malibu is not just another wealthy neighborhood. It is a global brand synonymous with celebrity privacy and oceanfront living. In this market, all-cash purchases are not the exception, they are the rule. While specific data for a small community like Malibu can be hard to isolate, the frequency of headline-grabbing cash sales tells the story. The cash share for properties over $10 million is significantly higher than in any other market we have examined. It is a world where mortgages are often seen as a sign of weakness or complication. The list of high-profile cash transactions in Malibu is long and staggering. These are not just home purchases, they are major capital investments made with the speed and decisiveness of a corporate acquisition. For buyers at this level, privacy is paramount. An all-cash transaction can be completed quickly and with far less paperwork, reducing the public trail. Buyers often use limited liability companies, LLCs, to further obscure their identities, and a cash deal simplifies this process. Speed is another critical factor. When a desirable property comes on the market, the ability to close in a matter of days rather than weeks or months can be the deciding factor. Sellers of these unique nine-figure properties value certainty above all else. They do not want to risk a deal falling apart due to a banking committee's decision. The journey from the national housing market down to the shores of Malibu reveals a clear and compelling story. The rise of the all-cash buyer is not a uniform trend. It sharpens and intensifies as the price of real estate increases. Nationally, it is a pragmatic response to high interest rates and low inventory, with nearly a third of all buyers leveraging cash to gain an edge. In a high-cost state like California, the trend is more complex, with a lower overall cash share but a significant concentration of cash in the top tiers of the market. As we narrow our focus to Los Angeles, we see this division in stark relief. Two parallel markets, one mortgage-dependent, another cash-wielding. The overall statistics are misleading without understanding that the cash is clustered in the most exclusive and expensive neighborhoods. Malibu represents the ultimate distillation of this phenomenon. In this ultra-luxury microcosm, cash is not just an advantage. It is the expected standard. It is not just a financial tactic, but a signal of seriousness and capability. The ability to pay cash reshapes the negotiation and gives the seller the certainty they crave. Ultimately, the concentration of cash in luxury real estate serves as a new litmus test for market exclusivity and power. The higher the percentage of all-cash deals in a neighborhood, the more insulated that market is from broader economic shifts like interest rate fluctuations. Where cash is concentrated, the psychology of the market changes, and the balance of power shifts decisively from the seller to the buyer who can offer the cleanest, fastest deal. Sitting just northwest of Los Angeles, Calabasas bridges everyday suburbia and true luxury. Its reputation rests on privacy, gated communities, hillside estates with sweeping views. Here, financing is common at the entry tiers, yet cash grows more prevalent as prices climb. Limited inventory and prime pockets means clean, fast offers often win the day. Renovated properties in the Oaks view lots above the canyons attract cash-ready buyers. Agents prioritize certainty, fewer contingencies, quicker closings, verified proof of funds. For higher-end resales, privacy culture matters. LLCs, discreet showings, streamlined escrow. Compared with broader LA, Calabasas concentrates cash in fewer, more competitive segments. In short, when the address, views, and privacy align, cash becomes the language of the deal.